Hello and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video by me, FoxyNoTail, here on the truly Bedrock Season 4 Survival World, and I'm over underneath my mob farm looking at my storage system because Big Chicken has been AFK for a very long time, and as a result, we now have a couple of shulker boxes with the gunpowder, which is really nice. And it's what's even nicer is when you add that to that chest, that chest, and that half chest there. That's 9 single chests worth just here, and I've got a couple of shulker boxes worth at home as well. So we've got plenty of gunpowder to be getting on with. We've also got the same number of bones. The reason I'm not looking in those chests is because that's the secondary filter, so there's nothing in those ones. So a whole lot of bones as well. We've got a whole bunch of string, and we've even got a little bit of redstone, a little bit of glowstone, and some glass bottles and spider eyes. So that's absolutely great. And as we leave the mob farm and go into the nether, I have even more good news. Mr. Onion Shop is actually making some money. Look at that. We got 18 diamonds already. I don't think there's any more in here. We might have to have a word with Mr. Onion about his prices. But yeah, 18 diamonds. That's pretty good. And don't just think that's all the good news I've got for you. We had a live stream over on YouTube yesterday, and in that we built some things in this room here. We built a rotating furnace array, which only has 1 ring. Oh, jeez. Go away, reward points. Leave me alone. I'm trying to record a video. I don't want you. I've turned off notifications and it still comes. Jeez. Anyway, yes, a rotating furnace array, which rotates these furnaces and gives us a shulker box worth of items in 9 minutes. It's by no means the quickest furnace system that I've ever built, but it's not bad. And I've been smelting some smooth stone through there, and we've also done a couple of boxes of glass as well, so that's good. And next to that, we built a bamboo farm. And the reason we built a bamboo farm is so that we can have lots of scaffolding for some fuel, because scaffolding has no use in the game other than burning it, and it burns for a very long time, and it's very, very, very cheap to make if you have a little bit of bone meal and string, which we do from our mob farm. Now, this design here is exactly the same as the one I made for my sugarcane farm earlier in the season, which is through there next to the bakery. What's the bakery? I don't know why, but my brain says that this furnace is now a bakery. It makes no sense, but that's what my brain is doing, okay? So yeah, good news. Oh, it's bedtime. Bad news. So yeah, that's good news all round, really. And if we look at my little miney base thing that we've been putting together, it's all coming together quite nicely. What's not coming together particularly nicely at the minute, though, is the landscaping on the outside. We haven't... No. Tiz? Why would Tiz come and grief me? We're buddies. I don't want beetroots, Tiz. No, look, all my farmland's broken. What? Oh, it says something, doesn't it? It says something. Oh, jeez. What does it say? What have you written for me, Tiz? Sup to Zloy. Oh, it's not. It's Zloy. Why is Zloy planting beetroots? I thought it was on potato team. There is a mushroom here in a sign by the looks of things as well. Noticed you had the wrong crops planted. I had wheat. What? Now I'm just completely confused. So does that mean Zloy is on Team Beets? Well, then if that's the case, I'm on Team Beets. What? This doesn't make any sense at all. Right, what it does mean, though, oh, geez, is that I'm breaking on my farmland, is that Tiz, no, not Tiz, Mr. Zloy is in for some trouble. But I don't know what that is yet. We'll have to think about that. Jeez. Comments in the comments below, please, on how we can get back at Zloy. Not blowing up his base, not actually griefing him in a, like, destructive manner, but fun ways to get back to Zloy, please. Lots of them in the comments, jeez. And I guess probably silent as well. I don't believe Zloy's done this all on his own. Morons planting beetroots. What idiots. And where's all my wheat? No, I haven't got any seeds. Okay, first things first is to restock our little nether shop. And I'm actually going to put full stacks in all of these slots now because I'm not a big stingy person like Mr. Onion. So the server members can now appreciate full stacks of items for their money rather than a measly 32. Here we go, that's better. I'm not changing the iron though. I was tempted to put those in as blocks, but even I don't have that much iron, so that'll do. Everything is a stack as priced. I better let the other server members know so I can make even more money. So with the shop restocked and everything out of the way, it's time to look at today's plan. And it was a very simple plan, just to build a moss farm. However, now I need a seed farm as well because I don't have any more wheat seeds, and that's a big area to fill full of wheat seeds. And Zloy's stolen all. Oh my goodness me. So yeah, we need a. Oh jeez. Nothing's ever simple as it. Let's go build a wheat farm, jeez. But hold on a minute. Before we build a wheat farm, we need to go back in time. Why are you making ghost noises? I don't know. Well, let's just go back in time, all right? Do that slidey thing where you go on to the other side. Many ago on Truly Bedrock Season 1, I built this area here. This was my little manor house on a hill surrounded by little farmy areas, and I had a lot of wheat here as well. And there's a big witch hut over there, which was, oh jeez, it's got the mouse. Jeez, how old is this world? It's all broken. Anyway, now that red thing's gone off the screen, as I was saying, Zloy was over there as well. God, I didn't realize how close we all were on this season. Anyway, yes, as I was saying, back on Truly Bedrock Season 1, I had a wheat farm, which was where I was getting all of my wheat from. And I was quite actually proud of this little barn building at the time. It's not much to speak of now, but it did the job. And inside of this little barn, there is a wheat farm, which was a really simple contraption. You basically just planted seeds and it got bone mealed and you got the wheat. So if I grab some seeds, I don't know if it still works or not, and I turn it on, you can see the wheat gets fully grown. I get wheat back, which also gives me more seeds as well because this thing's collecting seeds. And it's not the fastest farm in the world, but it's a good farm and it gives lots and lots of seeds back. As you can see, I've got nearly a stack already. That's pretty good. So basically what I'm saying is I'd like to build something like this on Truly Bedrock Season 4, but I'd also like to build it in its own little shed or barn or, you know, somewhere where we can store it. Which means coming over to my base area in a little world that I've created in creative mode to do a little bit of base planning and testing. I've changed my mind a lot since I made this, but these are the sorts of builds that we're going to be building. And I think something like this one here would be absolutely perfect for our little wheat farm. So back on the server, we need to think about where we're going to be building this thing, and with it being a wheat farm, it would be better off next to a wheat field, although all I've got at the moment is a beetroot field, which is not ideal. So we're not only going to have to build this and then build a farm inside it, we're then going to have to use that farm to generate many seeds so that we can actually replant it. But I think that little spot just down there is going to be the perfect place for this little farm. Now, I'm not going to be building this building exactly the same as what we just saw on my test world, but I am going to be building it of a similar size. So that means I'm going to have to do a little bit of landscaping here to get rid of some of these hills so that I've got room to actually put it. And what better thing to do while landscaping than listen to a podcast? Speaking of podcasts, did you know that Slack Lizard and myself have been recording a weekly Minecraft update podcast and putting that out on my second channel, as well as on all of the popular podcast networks such as Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, iHeartRadio, and all of the other good podcasty things. What is a podcast? Well, a podcast is basically just two people having a conversation. Oh, that sounds a bit boring. Well, it's about Minecraft, I guess, and YouTube and content creation, and, you know, so it's just give it a go if you're not sure. See what you think. The area has been prepared. It's time to start building. Do a time lapse. No, I'm busy. Well, that's the whole point. Oh, yeah. No. Okay, so building this thing shouldn't be too difficult. Basically, you got stone bricks in the corner and a layer of tuff around the bottom. Around the bottom of those stone bricks, we've got a couple of stair blocks for no particular reason. And on top of the tuff, we've just got a couple of layers of cobblestone. Oh, I've done this all off, but it needs to be a block wider. You're really good at Minecraft. I know, I'm excellent at planning things out. Come on, sleep. There we go. It's now a block wider. So now what we need to do is the area that's going to go around the door, which is just cobblestone. And then on the top of all this, it's just a row of andesite. Now on the inside, we need a ring of temporary blocks, and that ring allows us to waste an incredible amount of wood. So basically, we're going to have spruce all along the front and all along each side, whole logs, and we're going to strip them. On the corners, we can just fill those in with some more temporary blocks, although these are not temporary blocks, they're just sort of invisible blocks, I guess. Ones we're not going to see. And on the outside, we're going to come down, we're going to put trapdoors on the bits of andesite on the very corners. Now we need a whole bunch of spruce stairs, and we're going to go round the corners like that. Oh, I need more of those there. Not very good tutorial, I know. Then we need a bunch of spruce fences to go round the door, and we're also going to throw them down the sides. And they don't have to be particularly uniform, they can be a bit random, that's absolutely fine. And then for the very front of the door, we're just going to layer up some trapdoors like this and make an entrance, and then we just put a spruce door there. Next, we need some more randomly useless blocks on the corners here, and then we're going to waste even more incredibly useful logs by just using them in full form. And then we're going to strip all of those logs, and we're going to waste a whole bunch more spruce, crafting loads and loads of spruce signs. And we're going to need more than that. And we're going to painstakingly put a sign on each one of those there, like that. Yes, many signs. You could write on these signs if you wanted to. You could add little patterns on. If you used brown text, you could probably add some detail. But I'm not going to do that because I'm very lazy. With all of the signs in place, it's time to use even more trapdoors, and we're going to put those around that bottom ring of the spruce stripped logs. Could almost say that. And there we go, just like that. And in the areas where we don't have the fences, we're actually going to double those up and create a secondary layer because I just like wasting trapdoors. Just like that. Lovely. Oh, wow, my goodness me, that beetroot, it's everywhere. Okay, now we need to think about where we're going to have some windows. And this probably should come into play once we actually start working on the inside so that we know roughly where we're going to have it. But I'm just going to wing it for now, and I'm going to put some upside down stairs in front of both of those there. And I'm just going to put some spruce trapdoors next to the windows as if they were little shutters. We'll probably have to do those ones there so they look sort of semi-open. That's fine. And none of it has to be symmetrical or perfect. It can be as janky and messy as you want. And after placing all of those trapdoors, it's time to place some more trapdoors. This time we're going to cover up these horrible stone corner blocks. Everything's coming together. The ground floor's looking pretty good, to be honest with you. We didn't really leave a great deal at the room at the front here for any windows, but that's fine. What I might actually do is just throw a couple of walls in. Maybe not. That doesn't look very good. What about stairs? That's not too bad. It kind of looks like eyes, though, which I didn't really want to have on the front of the house. What about inverted ones? That's a bit better. Yeah, gonna have those there. Okay, now that we've got all that in place, it's time for the roof, which is a relatively simple job. It's mainly going to be dark oak and a little bit of stripped spruce. When I say a little bit of stripped spruce, it's going to be a whole lot of stripped spruce and also some stripped oak as well. So we've done slabs down the outside, and then we're going to make these sort of 3-block tall overlapping things here, like this. It's kind of a, I don't really know how to explain those other than they're overlapping things. Now, I think that's right. So we've got a stair block there and a stair block there, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm going off the pictures that I've took screenshots of, and it's hard to tell, but I think that's right. No, something looking very, very wrong about that. But fortunately, I know what I've done wrong. I just got to put more slabs on the bottom of those to make them look a little bit thicker, and that should do it. Yes, that looks better. Okay, so underneath this bit, what we're going to have is our, the standard Minecrafty little flower box thing, which everybody in the world does. They're really unique and original. No, they're not. Everyone does them. And on the front of that, we're going to have more trapdoors, and on the sides if I can reach them as well. And then behind this, I'm going to use dirt just because it's a temporary block. I just want to put a row of temporary blocks there, and then it's just covering up all of these gaps with stripped oak. However, we do need to leave room for a window, and I'm going to use white glass for the window, and then just more logs to finish that off. And then all I'm going to do is strip all of those logs like that. And then when we come to the front, that's just about done, apart from one little finishing touch, which is a fence post just there with a lantern on it. Beautiful. And we need some flowers on there, obviously, but I don't have any flowers. And now all I got to do is the exact same thing on the back. All we got to do now is use a bunch more slabs to go across the middle. There's nothing tricky or perilous about this at all. It seems perfectly safe. What could possibly go wrong? Now that all of our dark oak is in place, it is time to waste even more spruce logs running them down the sides here like this. And then once all of your spruce logs are in place, you need to go bananas again and get them all stripped. And then last but not least is a weird thing that I do with these roofs, and that is to put fences all the way along them, which serves two purposes. Not only does it make them spawn proof, but it also adds some sort of almost thatchy, weird like thatched sort of, not quite thatched, but thatched structure to it. Doesn't look thatched at all, no, but you know what I mean. It gives that sort of thatchy feel without it actually looking thatched. I don't think it does. It does, in my mind. Why don't you just use hay bales? Because hay bales is gross, mate. Hay bales are too yellow. They're vibrant. I don't want it to look vibrant. I want it to look old and worn and lived in. And there we go. Our little wheat house is finished. However, it's not finished because I don't actually want it to look like this. I actually want it to look a lot more like a barn, which means I'm now going to smash a lot of this bottom section to bits, which is what we've made, obviously. Oh, I haven't put any windows in the back. Oops. Not finished. You know what I mean. I'm going to smash a lot of this bottom section to bits and actually replace it with more barny-looking materials, I think. Possibly. I don't know. I quite like it. Doesn't look like a barn, though. It doesn't need to look like a barn. It needs to look like a little house where, like, a weak person might work. A weak person? Yes, a weak person. You've got no idea what you're talking about, have you? None. Not a bit. The weak person. Whatever next. Now, normally, I would do underfloor lighting for these things, but I'm going to avoid doing that now that we've got mobs spawning at Y level 0, because I can do more interesting things with lighting. So, this is going to have a, like, woodeny floor. So, I think I'm going to go a little bit crazy with some more spruce and some trapdoors and even some like grass paths and dirt and stuff. And there we go. I think that looks pretty good. That's a nice looking barn floor. Now, I don't really want to put a machine in here and ruin it. Oh, geez. Gonna have to, though. I'm also gonna grab a little bit more of these fences, and I'm just gonna run a row of those across the ceiling like that, just so I can drop a lantern in here. Oh, I might have to have two because it's not centered. And there we go. Got a little bit more lighting inside here as well. Now, to separate the top from the bottom, because I don't really want to be able to see into the roof here, I'm gonna use some oak and a few oak trapdoors as well. So, nice and simply, I'm just gonna have oak slabs, but occasionally I'm going to have like a trapdoor section like that, so you can kind of see through it and it feels like there's hatches to be put in stuff, which I feel is something that you might have in something like this. And yes, I am completely making this up as I go along. It is not based in any particular era. It's not Victorian or Tudor or, you know, any of the industrial areas or anything like that. It's not medieval. It's just a building that I've built in a style that I like. Okay? Yeah, but what era is it? I don't know. And there we go. Oh, hang on a minute. I've got a rogue. Oh, geez. A rogue block. There we go. That's better. Yeah, I like that ceiling. I like this room. It feels very barny. It's looking good. We just need a door in it now. Nice. I'm really happy with this. I don't really want to go smashing it all to bits now and making it look more barny. I like this little build, so I think I'm going to just leave it as it is. I think this is absolutely fine. If we build our little machine in here, this will be great. So the key to growing wheat is bone meal and water. It takes just one bone meal, apparently, in creative mode. Jeez. Oh, jeez. It takes 3 bone meals to make wheat fully grown, and once it's fully grown, then you get wheat back, which is great. You also get seeds back, which is also great. And in the past, I've always made this little farm, which is quite simple. We've got a dispenser with water in it, 3 dispensers with bone meal, and just a little clock that means that when the redstone block is behind the water, it will eject the water, and when it's down, it will turn on these pistons, or these repeaters, sorry, which will mean that the wheat fully grows every time and then gets harvested. And that's great, and it works very well, but it is a little bit slow. So this one here is pretty much the same thing, but this one has a dispenser with water in and 3 dispensers with bone meal in, but this time the redstone's a bit different. We're using observers, and we're also using a comparator clock, which will fire the dispensers much more quickly. So if we link this up, you'll see it clicks a lot faster, and we get the fully grown wheat far more quickly. So I've been fiddling a little bit with some systems here. What you've got here is 3 dispensers that are, each one is firing out water and picking it up at a completely different rate to the other one. These two look like they're about the same, but they're not. They're actually just slightly out of sync. This one's the slowest, this one's the second slowest, and this one's obviously very quick. So basically what I'm looking to do is try and find the most efficient way to do this as quickly as possible so that we are getting the speed that we need out of this machine. Now, it'd be great if I could like line them all up and have more than one piece of farmland, but I can only place 1 wheat seed at once, which is a bit of a shame. I suppose if I had a hopper minecart going backwards and forwards over some wheat seeds like that, I could do more than one, but how I would make all of those grow and be able to access them at the same time, I don't know. I don't think that's possible. Now, if you could grow the seeds by bone meal in the farmland, that would be great, but that doesn't work. But it might be possible to have something like this, where we've got dispensers that are set to fire 3 pieces of bone meal each, growing the wheat, and then pistons drop down to break the wheat seeds. We then need something like a hopper minecart underneath this thing to pick up all of the items, which we could do. And we could make this thing relatively long, and it could potentially give us more back than we could get from one single one of those. But getting the timing right to make sure the wheat would be fully grown just from one dispenser is a bit of a nightmare. You can see I've almost got it with this, but it's a bit hit and miss. And what I've done there is some really weird janky stuff. And this is a little bit more stable, but it's also a little bit slow now, but that works. So I guess the question is, do we have an incredibly complicated and ridiculous system like this that allows us to plant and grow 8 pieces of wheat all at once and have them all smashed? Bearing in mind it's not overly consistent because the pistons don't always wait till everything's grown. Or should we stick with something like this but see if we can really sort of hone the timings on this to get it as quick as possible? Maybe even reduce the number of dispensers that we need. Well, for a start, as much as I like that, it won't fit inside my little building that I've built, and it hasn't really given me all that much wheat. Whereas one of these will fit perfectly inside of what we built, and they're easy to build, and I'm not going to need much wheat once I've planted it all again. So yeah, I'm going to do one of these, but I'm going to try and make it as efficient and quick as possible. And I think I might have cracked it. Although I haven't tried it on a server yet, and lag could affect this thing quite badly, but this is it. 2 dispensers, 1 piston, an observer, and a comparator. And it might not look like this would work, but if I stand there, you can see the wheat pretty much almost every single time is fully grown. Now, I would like a slight bit more delay on that piston just to make it 100% efficient. But that, to me, looks like it's doing a pretty good job. Now, this one here is pretty much the same, but we've got a lock-in repeater system there again, just to slow down that piston slightly. And this one is a lot more efficient. It only just has time to fully grow each time, but you can see the wheat is fully grown every single time it gets broken. But which one's better? And which one works on a server? Neither of them, because this one's even simpler and it's even more reliable. Look at this, every single time it is fully grown, only 2 dispensers, and this time no observers at all, just a repeater and a piston. This is the one we're going to build on Truly Bedrock, but what I want to do is make it even smaller. Okay, so there we go. And you're right, it's not as small as that one, and I said I was going to make this even smaller. Well, it is and it isn't. The whole thing is as compact as I can get it to have lots and lots of storage for bone meal. Basically, this chest will filter into these 2 double chests, which will filter into these dispensers here. We've got our farmland there, and we've got a little bit of water there, keeping that farmland nice and wet. And all of this redstone will be able to be hidden underneath our floor, because we can put slabs and things like that over the top of it to disguise that. Which means the entire thing can be pretty much hidden. And all we'll have to do is just stand there and gather lots and lots of wheat. Now, there's no hoppers or anything for this wheat to go into. We're just going to literally catch it in our inventory. However, having trapdoors there, probably not the best idea. That's irritating. I'm very happy with this design. All I've got to do now is build it on Truly Bedrock. But before we disappear off and build it, of course, I'm going to do a rate test. I've filled this thing up with bone meal. It's all filtering into the dispensers. I'm going to basically just stand here and hold this one seed in survival mode for 5 minutes and see how much stuff we get after that. Well, That went pretty well. We managed to get 377 pieces of wheat, 253 seeds, which is about 118 stacks per hour's worth of items, which is pretty impressive. However, I'm not going to build that one on Truly Bedrock because that's nowhere near as impressive as another test that I've just done, which does have the 3 dispensers plus a water dispenser, and this one generated 726 wheat, 417 seeds, which is 215 stacks of items per hour, which is substantially more. So we're going to build this one. Okay, back on the Truly Bedrock server, I think I've got pretty much everything I need to build this thing. The only thing I'm sad about is I'm going to have to destroy my floor now, and I quite like it. So I'm going to put the 3 barrels that we're filling up with bone meal at the back. Those are all going to feed down into a hopper line, which means we'll have a dispenser there, we'll have a dispenser there, we'll have a dispenser there, and we'll have a dispenser there, which means that that trapdoor is going to be farmland, and it also means that this here needs to be water. So then we can connect that hopper to there, that hopper to there, put our other bucket of water in there, and now all we got to do is wire up the redstone, which shouldn't be too difficult. Okay, those are all in and wired up, and they're all well connected. So all I got to do now is get that single piece of redstone into this block here without touching that block or that block. Just means digging a little bit more of this floor away. And there we go. It's a bit janky. We don't actually have the on and off system yet, but that is everything wired up. Now, if I put the comparator there, which actually powers this whole thing, I don't know if that's going to give us enough juice to get all the way around to that one, but we'll find out in a second. Make that a full block and put that on there. And it is. That is powering everything by the looks of it. Put an egg in there. The egg... Oh, we got a chicken. The egg came out. Put some slabs in there. They're coming out. That's good. Put some redstone dust in there. That's coming out. This is all good. That all works very well. It's a bit of a mess, but it works. Okay, everything is ready to go. I've done a little bit of minor decorating in here with the hay bales that I had just to make this thing look not quite so empty and like it's just for a farm. I have some seeds on me, and each one of these has had a full chest worth of bone meal inside, which is now filtering into these dispensers. I guess it's time to see if this thing actually works on servers, which it probably won't. So all I've got to do is stand here and start clicking, and there we go. It is working, and we're getting lots of wheat and we're getting lots of seeds, which is the more important thing. I nipped off for a moment to get something, and I come back and I have overflowed. Well, that's a good sign. That's a very good sign. We're going to need a crafting table in here to put in all of the wheat. Oh my goodness me. Literally like 2 minutes. It works very well on servers. Good news, we have almost a chest of wheat and a whole bunch of seeds. Bad news, there's a zombie at my window and out of my door. Well, there's every mob that ever existed. Jeez, we probably should do with a little bit of lighting around our area. But, you know, I'm pretty happy. Very happy, in fact, with how that's gone. There is just one weird thing, though, that I don't really understand. And that is that 2 of the dispensers completely ran out of bone meal, but this one's got loads left, and I don't get it. There's no reason for that one to have more left in it, considering each one of those barrels had exactly the same amount to go in the first place. The only difference is there are 2 hoppers running into these 2 side dispensers and only 1 running into that one. The only thing I can think is there's some sort of redstone signal affecting the hopper that's going into that one, preventing it from using all of its bone meal. But regardless of that, we still managed to get an absolute ton of stuff. So yeah, I'm very happy. Which means I can now start replanting this lovely beetroot field that Zloy has given me. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to do that later. And to be honest with you, I actually quite like that. I like those red ledges or red terraces. I think we should have a beetroot field as part of this build somewhere, but possibly not just there, because that definitely needs to be wheat.